direct conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration ain't late me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me.
Thank you, Vandello, and welcome back to Rhett Conversations. My name is Josh Wasta, a.k.a. Fallout Fury. And with me, oh my god, I didn't actually set up a 90s intro. With drops of Jupiter in her hair, it's Miss Leia Cameron.
Hi, everybody. Fuck's sake.
Okay, it's third time that we've had one guest on here, so I'm gonna give your name a try, Miss Alysen Cassaccio. Cassaccio, damn it, frickin' Italians.
Yeah, we like to change it up.
Yeah, so we have
can be sent in care of graphical.
We have Alysen Cassaccio with her other half. I'm not going to say better half. I'm just going to go with other half. Jason Taylor, the old punk rocker. Both of you mainstays on Graphically Novel, but never been in Rhett Conversations. You've never been to school, as it is. So.
I don't know how the D relates.
The D does not relate generally because there's no media aspect. Usually I'm using my wiki. So you came together, and actually this was kind of a fun trial because both of you had to agree on something that neither of you had read for us to explain to you, right?
Oh, it was easy for me. Alysen, on the other hand, forget about it. She's like, oh, I've read that. Oh, I've read that. Oh, I've read that.
Yeah, so for more on Alysen and probably some of her best stuff, check out our Tank Girl episode where we deep dive into the Riot Girl movement and how that shaped the comic, which and why the movie was kind of disappointing because of that. But yes.
Oh, see, I loved that movie. I mean, as a kid, like,
right.
I was like in high school and I thought that movie was shit.
Did you immediately want to go out and bang a kangaroo?
No. Really crisp, but
what if it was Ice-T dressed as a kangaroo?
I don't think that I have enough substantial booty, and I mean, you've met me, but like, I don't think I have enough substantial booty to attract the likes of Ice-T.
Or kangaroos.
Kangaroos out. Never met a kangaroo, so I can't say.
Right. Yeah. you don't want to profile the kangaroos,
right? But I have seen photos of Ice-T's wife, and that woman is stacked.
So today for Rhett Conversations, Avengers versus X-Men. For anybody who has not listened to our show before, this is how it will be. Your instructor, main instructor for this lesson will be Miss Leia Cameron, and she will be taking Jason and Alysen through the storyline basically step by step to explain it to them. They have not read it, but they're curious about it, so we're going to tell them. At any point, Jason and Alysen can stop the entire podcast dead to ask any question that they want, and then it will be my responsibility to answer their questions. Should I not have an answer to the question, I may defer back to Leia, and if neither of us know it, we'll probably just jazz hands and say, because comics. We do not have Jennifer Howland with us today. She's out back building a shed with the rest of my family. However, the new rule that we have is if she is on the show, she just gets to make something up, which we've only done once thus far, but it was great for the question, why is Black Bolt not black?
I thought my answer was best, honestly.
Your answer was best, which is you can't just... Black. Yeah, you can't just ask somebody why they're not black. It's a fantastic response. Yes. Okay, so Miss Cameron, Professor L, floor is yours. Take it away.
All right. So, two things before we get started. The first thing is that this storyline came out in roughly 2012. I know this because I actually read the first 4 comics in single issues as they were coming out. I didn't finish not because it was bad, but because I moved to a place where there was no really readily accessible comic shop and forgot entirely about it until I was rereading this again. The second point of order is that the next time we do anything involving X-Men, Josh, that's on you.
I hear you. Yeah. I do have a note here to remind myself to have our section called "Where is Gambit?"
I did see him. I spotted him.
Yes.
One panel.
He had a whole one line, and he was immediately told to shut up.
I like this comic already.
So for those who don't know, Josh is far more knowledgeable about the X-Men than I am, and yet I think 3 times now I've had to do an X-Men explanation, which is like it's like we've mismatched our power sets a little bit. So I'm going to do my best here, and I'm sure that Josh is going to come in to assist as needed. So, Avengers versus X-Men. We open on, this is the prologue, by the way. It's issue 0. So this kind of sets up where the story is going. It introduces a couple people that are very important to the plot. But we open on MODOK attacking civilians in New York with a bunch of weird missiles that are like half dinosaur because comics. And his rampage is stopped by the Scarlet Witch. MODOK taunts her about being a disgraced Avenger and eliminating mutants, which you can see our episode on House of M for more about that. And he muses about sending her back to Magneto and calls her a broken hero. Thankfully, Spider-Woman and Ms. Marvel show up for an assist and take great joy in kicking the crap out of MODOK and his goons. After the fight concludes, they thank Wanda for her help, and Carol pressures Wanda to come by the Avengers Mansion, telling her that everyone has missed her, and they'll all be super happy to see her. And Wanda's kind of not having it. She thinks it's a terrible idea, but Carol kind of strong arms her into going. And spoiler alert, it is a terrible idea. Almost as soon as they get to the front door.
Sorry, a quick point of order, because it's only revealed on one panel, but she is fighting MODOK in front of the White House, like on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, I thought it was in New York City. I said New York City. That's my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, no, there's only one frame where it literally shows the White House and the gate on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, geez. That's even worse than New York City.
Right.
But so the minute they get there to the Avengers Mansion, before they can even like knock on the door, Vision phases right through the door and essentially just tells her to fuck off. He's pissed at her, his wife, very understandably so, because Wanda hijacked his body and used him as a weapon. And he tells her he just cannot forgive her for that. This is no longer her home, and she does not belong here.
This is not the only example of husbands being complete douchebags in this series, by the way.
Yeah, there's pretty rampant in this. Like, dudes are dicks in this.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
Wanda,
but she did take over his body.
So there was, So just before House of M, there was something called Avengers Disassembled, where Wanda had a psychotic break because she had created children whole cloth and then realized that she had created the children and that they were not really alive. That caused her to have a psychotic break. Basically, her reality powers went wonky. And yes, inadvertently, she took over Vision and had him attack the other Avengers, killing Hawkeye and Ant-Man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He got better.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so comic books have happened. But this is like 2 major events later, which is awesome because it's showing continuity that you don't always see in comic books. Comic books and wrestling, 2 of my hobbies that are horrible about continuity. But this is actually pretty cool to see the consequences of the actions. So to answer your question, yes, she did. But she's attempted to grow and has actually isolated herself since House of M. So
that's way smarter than therapy. Good.
Right.
Go ahead.
The fight that she joins actually, it's implied to be pretty much her first back since like she's been isolating herself because when Carol and Spider-Woman show up, they are like, "Oh wow, this is great job! Like you did awesome!" And they're like surprised but happy to see her. So after Vision tells her to fuck off, Wanda tells him that he's right and she's sorry. And Thor, Iron Man, and Beast are all just kind of looking on, but they don't do shit. Carol is pissed and flies off with a now weeping Wanda. And fucking Tony Stark, tells Vision that he was a little harsh towards Wanda, which just killed me, I guess.
The subtitle of this entire show, Rhett Conversations, is "And Tony Stark is a dick again," or "And Tony needs more therapy."
Yeah, please get this man some therapy for the love of God. So as Vision walks away, he sheds a single tear, proving that even since the synthezoids can cry, which is pretty hilarious. So meanwhile, on an island off the coast of San Francisco called Utopia, and frankly, if you've ever been to Northern California, this name is apt. It's beautiful there. I love it. I wish this island were real. There we are meeting up with Hope Summers and Scott, otherwise known as Cyclops. And it turns out that this Hope gal has been stealing a jetpack and sneaking off the island to go fight crime on a semi-nightly basis. And Scott does not like that at all.
Anybody need to know who Hope is? We're good.
Van Dyne?
No. Hope Summers.
Hope Summers.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
who
that's
that
not-
is.
Okay. Hope Summers was the first mutant born after House of M happened.
Okay.
So, Scarlet Witch said no more mutants. The mutant population went from in the near millions to 198 worldwide. And there has been enough story since then. There's been like 2 or 3 years of story since then where basically the Phoenix Force went, well, that's not right. And so a little bit of the Phoenix Force came to Earth and a baby was born. The first mutant baby since M Day. Cable took and adopted this child and ran around in time with her so she could grow up, because that's what Cable does. And so she has been adopted by Cable. Cable is basically her father, which means that Cyclops is her grandfather. Jean Grey is dead at this point, and Cyclops and Emma Frost are together. That should bring us up to speed, not only on where who Hope is, but also what is happening, because she has similar psychic powers to Jean Grey. She also is a redhead and looks a lot like Jean.
And Cyclops is mad that Hope is fighting crime.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
And we will find out why.
Yes.
Okay.
Cyclops is a
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. No matter, you know, your spectrum of Cyclops is dick, whether it's like an average person or somebody that's actually been paying attention. Cyclops is just horrible in this. So get ready.
He
Cyclops
gets so
a
much worse.
douche?
Yeah, right?
Oh, say it ain't so. God, say it ain't so.
Yeah, buckle up. This is our first introduction to Scott in this, and it's not going to get any better. So basically, he thinks it's too dangerous for her to go out and fight crime, because she's considered the mutant messiah, and Scott isn't exactly sure even what this is supposed to mean at this point right now. But he genuinely believes like she is too special to risk herself to go off and, fight petty criminals in San Francisco. Very abruptly, Hope asks Scott about the Phoenix and says that she knows it's coming for her like it did for Jean, and she wants to know what will happen when it gets here. But Scott will not tell her. So she jetpacks off to fight crime, but not before blasting Scott with her own or his own laser eye beams. Because that's one of the things she can do. She can kind of like absorb powers and use them. Kind of roguelike in that way.
Except able to control it and able to do everything else as well.
Yes.
Does Scott actually understand the Phoenix?
No.
Or, a lot of what I've seen in other arenas was just like Jean Grey and inside her head, and
so what basically no one understands the Phoenix is what we're going to find out very, very quickly. The Phoenix at this point has really only, according to this story, only really been back once, and that was when it took over Jean and made her the Dark Phoenix, and she went and ate a planet. That was something that actually occurred. The Phoenix is like a cosmic primordial being of just pure energy. So knowing what the Phoenix wants, or knowing what it is, or predicting what will happen when it really bonds with anyone is anybody's guess. So there's a lot of conjecture happening here, and absolutely no knowledge to back it up other than Jean went crazy and died.
So, where is Cable during all this? Because Cable adopted her.
Cable
Right.
is currently using the trope Sir not appearing in this film because he does not show.
Yes.
Nice parenting.
Yeah. He's traipsing once again through time. Probably fighting Bishop, because this whole period, like, Bishop is trying to kill Hope and Cable's trying to keep her alive, and that was their whole thing for a long time, and now they just fight each other.
Yeah, he simply does not show up during this entire arc. I saw him not at all.
Wow.
I am wondering if he's dead. I will find out.
So Hope decides to jetpack off into San Francisco and go fight crime, and comes across the Serpent Society, who are breaking into a bank vault. You know, it's your standard B&E, we're going to get some money BS. And so they start to fight, and Scott and Emma Frost show up to break it up and to yell at Hope. And Scott tells her to go back to Utopia. And Hope tells him that what he's really scared of is the Phoenix. And she informs him that she wants it to come and she's ready. And then she dips out. And Scott insists to Emma that one day she's going to save them all. He doesn't know how, but she's going to do it. And Emma's like, what the fuck, dude?
No pressure.
And so meanwhile, somewhere in space, the Phoenix kind of is just looming in space. It is coming. And that is how we open on issue 1 with the Phoenix headed toward Earth.
Okay.
Cool.
So meanwhile, the Avengers are all chilling at Avengers Tower when a large streak of light appears in the sky and then takes out a fucking plane and part of the Chrysler building. And everybody springs into action. So Thor, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man attend to the plane. Spider-Man swings some webs on the ground for falling people to land in, which prompts one civilian to calmly say to no one in particular, "That's it. I'm moving. I'm done."
Hey,
With
sound
a big
advice.
fucking mood.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as they're doing that,
One second. Let's back up to issue 0.
yeah.
What was the point of the X-Men or of the Avengers even being in that episode? Just to hurt Scarlet Witch's feelings?
Yes.
Yes. Just to really establish that they don't like Wanda, and they're scared of her, basically.
So is like okay, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but is Wanda gonna meet up with Hope?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that will happen.
These things will occur.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will get to that.
Okay.
All
right. Just wondering.
Yeah, no problem. So while Thor, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man are taking care of the plane and the Chrysler building, Cap, Hawkeye, Widow, and the Protector arrive at the point of impact of the falling object, which turns out to be Nova. He manages to tell them it's coming, and I don't know how many times they're going to rip off this scene from Civil War.
Yeah.
But wow, I was having flashbacks. And they look at like interstellar radar, which doesn't show anything behind him. But Captain America looks really concerned about this. Meanwhile, on Utopia, Scott is training Hope to fight without her powers. So just like, your standard fist fighting, while Magneto is watching with Emma Frost.
On the same island?
Yes, they're all hanging out.
Chilling out together.
Utopia has become kind of a mutant sanctuary. It is its own sovereign mutant country off of the shores of San Francisco. Because that's the thing.
Yeah,
Hey,
if I had to pick a place to live.
Be glad we don't deal with people on the moon in this episode.
Josh,
fair enough.
What?
We're gonna go to the moon in a bit.
Oh shit, we are gonna go to the moon in a bit.
I'm sorry.
I forgot.
The Mooninites have returned.
I forgot the Mooninites do return. Their vertical leap is beyond all measurement.
So Magneto and Emma are watching Scott train Hope, and Magneto comments that Scott's kind of obsessed with her, which he is. And Scott keeps demanding that Hope fight him again and again and again. Well, Hope asks why in the hell he's asking her to do this. And she finally gets frustrated and blasts him with what looks like Phoenix Fire, which is a power she didn't even know she had.
Awesome.
FYI, it sounds like they're just like sparring, like everything that you normally see. No, this is Cyclops beating the shit out of a teenage child.
Oh, yeah.
This
He's
is
such
like
a good guy.
And then when she's doubled over, like on her hands and knees on the ground, he starts yelling at her. And in fact, at one point, kicks her while she's on her hands and knees.
Is there ever a scene in any of this with him? Like, I've never encountered Scott to interact with a female character in a way that was not obsessive to the point of like, there's something really wrong with you, dude.
To be fair, this is obsessive to the point that something is wrong with him.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
I mean, still fitting your criteria, just in a much different way.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, like, I just want to point out too, this is issue 1.
Yes.
There are 12 issues in this book. And this is just the bare bones. This is going to look mild compared to what's going to be happening by issue 12.
True that. So yeah, she fucks him up with some Phoenix Force.
Yes. So we cut over now to the White House, where Steve and Tony are briefing the president on the interstellar visitor they had the other day. And apparently Nova is in a coma now. Like he got bad fucked up by trying to get to Earth in a hurry and basically outrun the Phoenix. But they don't know that because he's in a coma. So they surmise he came in contact with a massive energy source, and their interstellar recon shows a energy signature that's identical to that of the Phoenix Force, which they've been looking for since the Jean Grey quote-unquote incident. And no shit, it's headed straight for Earth. They explain that they're going to send a team of Avengers on a suicide mission into space to stop it. But, oh no, it's already here.
Whoa. A suicide mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they even elaborate on who this suicide mission was going to be?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
You will see soon.
Okay.
So Cap goes straight to the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning and chats up Wolverine, who isn't thrilled about this. And Steve implores him to get Scott and the rest of the X-Men to work with them to do something about it. Wolverine knows that Scott's going to take this real personally. And Cap asks if he can count on Wolverine to help. And Wolverine just doesn't really reply.
The Jean Grey School exists where the Winchester School did before. It is Professor Xavier's old mansion. There has been, due to Hope and a bunch of other things, there has been an event in the X-Men called Schism, where basically Scott said, well, we're going to make this island and we're going to train all of these children to basically be warriors like Charles did with us. And Wolverine said, hey, how about you let kids be kids and you actually teach them things like maths? And Scott's like, no, that's a waste of time. So there was a schism in the
No wonder he's hanging out with Magneto. The whole thing.
Yes. Actually, Magneto joining him, big thing in Schism. Schism is probably a future episode if anybody ever wants us to explain it, but it's basically civil war in the X-Men, except Wolverine is just right. Like
Correction.
Yes. Sorry.
If you want Josh to explain it to you.
Oh, okay.
What? Who is? I'm drawing a blank here. Who is Cyclops' brother?
Havoc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's certainly, again, not appearing in this film.
All right.
So anyway, that's where we are, and that's why Cap went to Wolverine as opposed, like, to be like, okay, well, can you please go talk to Cyclops? And Wolverine's like, we're not on the best friends right now.
Wow.
He has taken me off his top 10 on MySpace.
Top 3. Yeah. Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. So
Millennials, MySpace used to be Facebook for the olds when they were the youngs. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Meanwhile, Scott, Colossus, Namor, Emma Frost, and Magneto are having a chat on a rooftop somewhere. Scott thinks that Hope as the Phoenix could actually turn the tide for the mutants since there's under 200 left. And Magneto initially thinks this is cool as fuck if true. Scott wonders aloud why the Phoenix keeps coming back to the mutants and then suggests it may signify a mutant rebirth. He tells them he wants to train Hope to prepare her for anything, and just then Emma is like, oh hell, Steve's here. And Cap has shown up on Utopia to explain that he wants to take Hope into protective custody because the Phoenix Force is coming for her and they need to stop it.
Oh, that's going to go over like a load of bricks.
Yeah, this is...
At any point, does anyone ask Hope what the hell she wants?
Not for a while.
Cool.
Not
That'll
for a
be
while.
great when the Phoenix shows up then.
Yeah, this is a whole mess. Like this entire arc. I mean, I enjoyed reading this story, but like, holy shit, is this a whole mess?
One out of 12 issues.
Yeah,
is where we are right now.
Okay.
There is a lot going on here. So Scott informs him to mind his own fucking human ass business. And besides, this may be mutant kind's last hope. And oh, by the way, where were y'all Homo sapiens when mutants were getting stomped? Steve is like, oh, well, we are respecting your mutant autonomy. And Scott tells him respectfully to fuck all the way off the island forever.
Yes. It would be much better if it was verbatim, but yes. This harkens back, by the way, this is a wonderful throwback kind of to Emma Frost being approached during Civil War and her saying, where were you when our babies were burning? Which, yeah.
That's kind of ironclad. Like, you can't come back from that, man.
No.
But Steve being Steve was like, I wasn't fucking asking, I was telling you. And Scott then just laser eyes him, which Steve does not like at all, and calls for the Avengers to assemble. The helicarrier appears, it locked and fucking loaded, and Scott informs Emma to protect Hope as some fighting breaks out. We then pop back in time briefly to find we're kind of getting this story now through Nova's eyes as he's racing the Phoenix Force to Earth to try to beat it to Earth. And he's thinking about how everybody he loves is counting on him to get there in time, and also that he loves Sports Center, Snickers, dubstep, and the Cardinals. So that's a thing.
Okay. Have we encountered Nova before?
You have encountered a whole core of Nova. They are the Nova Force. Nova is just what the superhero for Earth is called. That is in the Nova Corps. Guardians of the Galaxy is the best example I have of the Nova Corps. They were the organized, police force that basically was decimated at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. They're kind of the intergalactic cops in Marvel.
Ugh. Okay.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Although not like racist cops. I mean, in general, they're like, we're gonna bring people. Like it's it's
like space justice stuff. I mean,
yeah, and it's hard not to compare them to the Green Lantern Corps from DC, but they're done better than the Green Lantern Corps in general. But yes, think Interstellar Police Force. That they're just trying to somehow curb
going to jail for space crimes.
That's right. Yeah.
Space jail. Okay.
Space jail.
So he's trying to outrun the Phoenix at literal hyperspeed, but he basically like fucks up and comes in for a landing like way too fast because his brain can't keep up at the speed at which he's flying. Like it messes up his mind. So he manages to avoid a helicopter, but in doing so takes out like the Chrysler building and the plane and then smashes into the ground. And then, manages to he tries to tell them what's going to happen, but can only get out it's coming before he falls into the coma.
Very useful.
Yeah,
right?
Very helpful. Again, just distinctly ripping off Civil War 1 and 2. Although 2 didn't exist at this point. The point though.
Right.
They use this a lot. So anyways, we're back to the fighting. and Colossus smashes into the helicarrier with a magnetic fastball special. And nobody likes this, especially not Red Hulk, who is like, LOL, smash, my dude. And they start pounding the crap out of each other, and the helicarrier basically like disintegrates around them, and everybody falls off of it into the water. Now it's Namor's time to shine, at least briefly, as he punches the thing out of the water before Luke Cage punches him right back. Cap's shield whacks Scott upside the head. More fighting. Emma shoves Hope in to the building that's on Utopia, like the Citadel or whatever that's on Utopia. And she's hanging out with like some teens, some other teen mutants. And Emma leaves to go try to end the fight, except she's stopped by Tony, who fucks her shit up with quote unquote microscopic telepathic lasers.
Wow.
Because comics.
He fights her with the power of tasers and misogyny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what this fight is.
It's just gross.
Because he tases her and it is like, I'm so sorry. I do hope you'll let me make this up to you over dinner sometime.
Oh, that's creepy.
He's just so gross. Oh. So as this is going on, oh shit, it's Magneto, and Iron Man is metal. So that's happening.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I just totally fell into a hole of like mental imaginings of I've never had those two in my brain at the same time. Please continue.
That's a ship story right there.
Forbidden love.
Oh man.
So as they're fighting, Quicksilver arrives and just punches Magneto because apparently seconds ago he was chilling out with Wanda watching what was happening on like a television screen. And he asked her to help before he dips out to beat up his dad.
He also, it specifically says he punches him at Mach 5,
yes.
Which I'm wondering exactly how Magneto's head is still attached to his shoulders.
Yeah, like he has magnet powers, but like that's not going to help you if somebody punches your head clean off your body.
Right.
Did you just say that Quicksilver is Magneto's son?
Yes.
Look, everybody knows that movie.
Okay.
No, I gotta go figure that out.
Yeah. Okay, well, hold on, because it gets more fun.
I didn't know that.
At this specific point in comic book history, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Magneto's children. This will be retconned no less than 4 times until present day, where they are not, but if the next few comics that are going to come out confirms my suspicions, they will be again.
I like to personally hold as canon that they are his kids, and that's that on that. I don't like to I don't like to deny that particular part of continuity. It's just they're his kids, period.
Wow. There's a whole lot of bad parents so far. Okay.
Oh God.
Also, like at one point, Scarlet Witch used her reality powers to make herself a mutant because she wanted to be a mutant.
Okay.
Reality warping. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
So, understandably, Wanda declines the offer to go beat up their dad and just turns off the TV and walks into the other room. You know. So back to the fighting now. Wolverine is being called a traitor by the mutants for fighting with the Avengers. Storm and T'Challa are having a marital dispute. And
when did Storm and T'Challa get married?
Okay. So this was just after Civil War. There was a whole thing where T'Challa and Storm got married. Storm technically right now is the Queen of Wakanda.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So that is the thing that happens at this point in comic book history.
Okay.
So Hope is wants to join the fight, but the teens TM are trying to get her to stay with them. Scott and Steve are fighting, and Scott calls Steve a fascist, which is never a good idea. Steve tries to remind him about what the Phoenix did to Jean, and maybe that isn't the best tactic here because this pisses him right the fuck off. Steve begs him to stop and act right before people get hurt, and Scott says, well, it's too fucking late for that, homie.
And thwacks him. Literally thwacks him in the face. It says thwack. It's Cyclops' face with his shield, and it says thwack. It is my favorite panel.
It's pretty good.
Wow.
So there's more fighting. And Steve is still trying to get Scott to see reason here, which of course Scott is absolutely unwilling to do. Illyana Rasputin, otherwise known as Magic, and Doctor Strange are fighting in Limbo, which is like her weird hell realm. Wolverine and Spider-Man manage to sneak off during the fighting to try to enter the building on the island and get to Hope through the storm drains. And when they get there, they find that Hope has taken out all of the teeth, and she's kind of on fire a little too. Wolverine goes to slash at her, and now he's on fire, and Spider-Man is hurt. Everyone comes running in, but it is too late because Hope is running across the water and gone. Meanwhile, in space,
like Hope's gone. Spider-Man's on the floor. He does not look hurt. He just looks incapacitated as well as all the teens. And Wolverine is like crispy.
Yeah.
She's like, he'll come back from this, but not for a while. Yeah.
Yikes.
So meanwhile in space, the Avengers suicide mission is staring down the Phoenix.
What kind of plan is this?
Who was that?
Yeah.
All right. So the Suicide Squad is Beast, War Machine,
okay,
Thor, female Thor, who
Huh?
is Jane Foster Thor, Ms. Marvel, who is not Captain Marvel yet, Vision, and some dude I cannot identify.
And so their suicide mission is to stop the Phoenix Force.
It's to run at the Phoenix Force in space.
You're just gonna ram them?
I don't know what they're planning on doing. There's literally a panel of them in front of the Phoenix Force in space. And they're and Thor just saying, today's as good a day as any to die.
Yeah. There is no plan established. They're like, well, I guess we'll just go try to punch this thing. I don't know. Meanwhile, Logan wakes up. He is nude and still quite crispy. And Spider-Man informs him that he has just been sitting there watching him regrow his flesh, which is fucking weird, Peter.
God damn it, Peter. Why? I mean, I guess you could go and have an adventure with more clones or watch Logan regrow his skin. And you know what? Thanks, Pete.
I'll take the latter any day. No more clones. So he informs Logan that while he was out, that Cyclops has surrendered, which Logan finds immediately very fishy. We cut over to Steve and Tony, who are arguing over what to do next. And the normally arrest-happy Tony Stark, see Civil War, is like, well, we can't just arrest all of the X-Men. And Steve is like, yeah, but we should, though. And this is actually called out directly by Tony, hilariously enough, is like, hey, last time we were kind of on opposing sides of this, and like, you didn't want to arrest anybody, and I did, and this is kind of fucking weird.
Yeah.
So while they're debating over what to do, Logan arrives like, it's a trap. And it is. Basically, Illyana Rasputin magic made everyone look like one another, and the X-Men managed to get away. So she like cast an illusion, essentially.
Weird.
Yeah. So at this point now, there is so much drama in the LBC because that's where the X-Men are now. They're in Long Beach. And they want to use Cerebra to find Hope. So they decide they're going to go break into Logan's school. Hope is in San Francisco, and I'm not sure why they didn't look there first. Like, did they not know about maps? I don't know why.
Logan's school different from Jean Grey's school?
No, that is Logan's
it's the
school.
same school.
He named it after Jean Grey because Logan and his.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, in my entire adult life, I have never found a woman that not only brings as much focus from men, but is also as fucking milquetoast as Jean Grey. Like, most of the women I interact with are like fucking punk rock or like in some other way interesting in a way that should attract all these people. And Jean Grey is not. She's
not. I've never understood the attraction or attention. Like, she's okay, I guess, but like, who cares?
Yeah. I usually excuse a lot of this away with like, well, the writers in the 60s, they did the best they could. But this is like 2012.
This is why I love Emma, because Emma's actually like interesting. She's a bitch, but she's interesting.
I said Jean Grey Oh, I believe she used her powers, some aspect of them, just to make herself desirable by all these.
Oh,
That's a
well, yeah.
interesting theory.
So, I mean,
Little psychic fuckery right there.
yes.
Okay. You know what? That's canon now. I've declared
Yep,
it. It's
absolutely.
That's canon now.
Probably not even a redhead, just making people think she's a redhead so she can feel special. AKA most teenage girls in the 90s.
Wow. First of all,
Your town car's on its way.
shit. Came for me so hard. Holy shit.
Wow.
Well, anyways, that's been the episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the last episode of Rec Conversations. We're fighting now.
Oh, okay. We're
Hopes in San Francisco.
yes, Hopes in San Francisco. She is in an off-brand Radio Shack making some kind of gauntlet so that the X-Men can't find her. And it must work because Cerebro is showing 5 different energy signatures in 5 different places. And that's per Rachel, who turns out to be a double agent for the X-Men. Cap, meanwhile, is sending out teams to a bunch of different places.
Are you wondering who Rachel is?
Yes, who is Rachel?
Rachel is Rachel Summers. So
It's a family affair up in here.
in an alternate timeline, Cyclops and Jean Grey had a daughter. That daughter grew up in that timeline. That timeline was horrible. So the daughter went, there's got to be a better timeline than the one that I grew up in. And she jumped over to the main timeline. So technically she's Cyclops and Jean Grey's daughter.
If I were Doctor Strange, I'd kill all you fuckers.
Oh,
If I was Mobius, I would have a real
yeah.
big problem with all of this.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like I now understand a little bit, like as I read more X-Men, why I mean, aside from the rights issues and whatnot, I understand now why they haven't been in the MCU, because holy fuck, y'all.
I mean, a lot of this,
Everybody up.
a lot of the Summers line especially is, hashtag King was right.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other problem with them, right? If you fundamentally don't really like Jean Grey and you fundamentally don't really like Scott, the last thing I want to hear about is a story about their damn kids.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
Interesting.
100%.
Hey, if it helps at all, Rachel has also had a lot to do with the Phoenix Force. Does that help?
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
And we're still in issue 1.
No.
Yeah. Still on
Okay.
issue
No.
1.
Thankfully, we're in issue 3 now.
Oh, issue 3. God, I've already lost track of my life. So Cap is sending out a bunch of teams to different places to work on countering the Phoenix Force somehow, and asks Wolverine to stay with him. Cap essentially blames Logan for scaring Hope off, and Wolverine is like, dude, she was already scared to begin with. Steve and Logan start fighting because Steve doesn't want to kill Hope, but Logan does. But he's given an assist by Giant Man Hank Pym and Carol, who opens a fucking airlock in the helicarrier, and Logan basically gets sucked out and falls into the snowy wasteland of Antarctica, which is cold as fuck.
Which, by the way, they're missing a great opportunity for Gambit to be like, yeah, it fucking sucks, doesn't it? Hashtag Trial of Gambit.
I love people who love Gambit because you guys are all so crazy. Okay, go ahead.
So in Antarctica, Logan finds beer and makes friends with a polar bear, so he's all right for a
This
minute.
is true. This actually
Seriously?
happens.
This really happens. And it turns out that Hope has set a horribly punny name of a beer trap for him.
Okay.
No, you said beer.
Let's explain this a little better. Wolverine has been walking around in Antarctica, has found a polar bear, killed it, and is wearing its skin when he finds a beer in snow and follows the trail of beers to where.
I mean, okay, so to be fair,
Too fair.
when you were explaining it, I kind of fell for it too. I was like, oh, good, Logan found beer. I guess that'll be okay.
Right,
and then you were like, and it was a trap. And I was like, gosh, right? So
Yeah, no, it's like it's not like there's a polar bear hang. It's not like the Coke bears, but with beer, like
No.
hanging out with Santa.
I did think it was absolutely fucking hilarious. I was like, okay, we've kind of gone off a little bit off the rails here. But yeah, it's Hope who has set this beer trap up for him. And so she tries to convince Logan that she can handle the Phoenix, and he's like, "You're out of your mind." But he kind of low key decides to give her a chance after she tells him that he's the only person she trusts to stop her if she loses control. So, meanwhile, the X-Men have deployed to the 5 different locations where they're getting Hope's energy signature to find her. And she telepathically possesses some janitor in the X mansion to use Cerebro. And it's Emma that's doing this. So Emma telepathically possesses some random janitor.
It's not a random janitor.
Who the fuck is it?
It's Toad.
Oh,
Toad.
I couldn't tell.
Toad is the janitor at the Jean
that
Grey
tracks
school.
100%.
Yeah,
Like-
because she specifically talks about how she has to control the weakest of minds.
Oh, come on.
That's so sad. That's even worse. Like, I thought it was just some random.
No, it's Toad.
For worse.
So, as she's looking from place to place using Cerebro, everybody is fighting, and but they do manage to locate Steve, who's in the Savage Lands. Tony is back home doing science when Steve learns where Hope is headed, and watching from afar, Emma also knows too. Meanwhile, Wolverine and Hope are at AIM. They are stealing a rocket to go to the moon. We are back.
Aren't they in Antarctica?
No, she had a plane.
Okay. Of course.
So when they left Antarctica, she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger ship." And so Wolverine is like, "Cool, let's steal a rocket to go to the moon." So they land on what's called the blue area of the moon, which is an artificial environment created by the Skrulls. Also, the Avengers are here somehow because Logan told them where he and Hope were going. But also the X-Men are also here now, and they're about to fight again when an unconscious Thor lands, and so does the Phoenix. Hope is quickly overwhelmed and knocks everyone who's fighting down with an energy blast and realizes it's too much for her to control. So she asks Wolverine to kill her, but he's stopped by fucking Scott and his fucking laser eyes. Meanwhile,
I'm kind of frustrated that Hope is like, "Oh, you guys were all right. I can't control it now that we're all on the moon together."
She's a literal teen, and like I had a moment where I was kind of pissed with her too, but then I thought about like, okay, at 17, did I think I could take on the Phoenix Force? Yeah, I probably did.
Okay, point well made.
If somebody was like, "Leia, can you handle the Phoenix?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, man,
Yeah.
I can do anything."
Come at me,
I
bro.
get it. She bit off far more than she'd chew.
Roll all that shit together. I'll do it with you. We'll go to the loony bin together.
So, meanwhile, Tony and Giant Man Hank Pym are booting up a giant mech suit thing, and it flies towards the imminent Phoenix as everyone's fighting. And now even the X-Men want Scott to leave Hope alone. The mech fires a disruptor at the Phoenix, and everything kind of whites out a bit. And when we return, the worst possible thing has happened. The Phoenix has taken residence in Scott,
Oh god.
Emma Frost, Namor, Colossus, and Ileana. They tell Cap and the Avengers to fuck off and take Hope with them off of the moon. 10 days later, Magneto and Professor X meet up on Utopia to have a chat. And they visit with Phoenix Scott, who has telepathic abilities along with a host of other new fun things. And he's a little fucking bonkers. X.
You said who's meeting with
Charles Xavier.
Scott?
Yeah,
Where's he
Professor
been?
X, and where has he been?
Yeah.
Dealing with Legion.
He is. Yeah, actually, that's true.
Really?
Yes, he and Legion have been doing father-son shit for the first time in comic book history. So
Wow.
yes, there is a whole series about Charles going and trying to find out basically he's been resurrected and he goes to find out who he is, but he does that by visiting people and kind of like getting their memories of who he was and finding out that most people did not like him. So Charles has basically quit being the leader of the X-Men at this point in comics history, and is just basically like trying to hang out with his son, trying to hang out with Legion, and just be like, okay, at least I could have a relationship with my son. And this interrupts all of that shit.
He's just trying to, fucking throw the old baseball around in the yard with his kid when all
That's
this
right.
shit
And his kid turns his neck and bats the ball with his fucking hair. Because Legion has dumb hair.
He does have dumb.
Okay. So
10 days later, so they meet up, and Xavier tells Scott that people are afraid, but Scott doesn't give a fuck. He feels that they're remaking the world and that mankind just has to accept that. He literally looks at Professor X and says, "Here's your dream, Charles. I've given it to you." So
the reason he's saying this is like it shows like magic is in the Horn of Africa making fields grow. Cyclops is in the Tamir Peninsula, and like there is just wheat as far as you can see. Like they are using the Phoenix Force powers to create like
ostensibly help humanity.
Yes, they're purifying the water. They're in the Gobi Desert making limitless energy. Like they are improving humanity. Yeah. They are giving them everything that the planet needs.
So 2 days later, the Avengers have been saved in battle by Colossus, who basically just talked it out with the people they were fighting, which is the Electric Legion. And he convinces them to provide free mutant power for most of Eastern Europe.
Mutant power? Avengers.
Yes, these people are electric. They are literally walking electricity. And they had been fighting the Avengers, and basically, Cyclops and crew show up, and they're like, or you could work with each other and they all provide have, power.
They've got like weird names. They're like zzz and zzz.
Yeah. Well, and it's just and it's literally just Colossus who walks out and speaks to them in an electric language, which is just like lightning bolts. So he knows their language too, and negotiates with them to basically be like, okay, you're gonna, they'll power Eastern Europe in exchange for you leave them the fuck alone. They want their own shit. Like they're people.
I mean, I don't hate the direction that this is going for humanity. I just still kind of dislike Scott. That's fine.
It's fine.
That's fair. It'll get worse. Don't worry. So Cap talks to the Avengers. They're not sure what the fuck to do anymore. They're like, this is good, but also weird. In Utopia, Scott offers a reluctant Hope the Phoenix Force, and she accepts it, but he won't give it to her because she already turned it down, so she doesn't deserve it. What a fucking dick. Like, He does this for almost no reason. He's like, hey, you want some? She's like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay, I can. And he's like, no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we cut over to Lei Kung, who is the Thunderer.
Yes.
And he is going to Kunlun to seek the Book of the Fallen, which has information in it about how to potentially defeat the Phoenix Force. And he's told that he needs the Iron Fist.
Is this guy introduced here? Or is he from someplace else?
The Thunderer is a whole thing with, and this is where my knowledge really falls flat because I am not a fan of Kung Fu movies. And so by definition, I'm not a fan of like Kung Fu comics. But this falls into the Kunlun, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, all of that Kung Fu side of Marvel. And the Thunder is another one of those like heroes that is part of the whole Kung Fu thing.
He's an Iron Fist guy. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
He's from there. This is the first time I've ever seen him because I also do not. I actually enjoy like kung fu wuxia type movies, but I've never really read Iron Fist and don't know much about it. I didn't even watch his first season on Netflix when that was a thing. So
it was painful.
It never
Yeah,
even
that's-
occurred to me to go look this stuff up, to be honest with you. But I really, really love Kung Fu with David Carradine.
that's
Well,
fair.
there you
So,
go. Yeah.
Honestly, you
I
enjoy
might-
that type of thing. The new Shang-Chi movie is outstanding.
Oh, the Shang-Chi movie is phenomenal.
I can't say enough good stuff about it. Like, I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
at any rate, before I go off on
Yeah.
a tangent that will push this into a 3-part episode.
As we're probably are getting a 2-part. But yes.
So the Avengers, meanwhile, are at the White House talking to the president about how the mutants have declared an end to war, and they're calling it the Pax Utopia. And the president is like, well, the X-Men aren't really being held accountable for what we do or for what they do. So, like, we got to do something about this. There needs to essentially be like checks and balances. Meanwhile, Wanda is having essentially a vision of not the Vision, capital V, but she's having a vision of the Phoenix destroying the Avengers. The Avengers are busy trying to plan out how to break into Utopia to get Hope. T'Challa chooses to sit this one out because he's a prince, and basically any action he takes is going to be a direct reflection of the country of Wakanda. So he feels that he can't really join in at this point because otherwise it would be a political maneuver. Everyone else gets special suits from Tony, and they do manage to get a hold of her, but too late because Scott and Emma show up and make short work of everybody. Just as it looks like it's going to be a real shit show. Oh fuck, Wanda's here. She asks them to stop, and Scott says, well, it's self-defense. Wanda says she's taking all of them with her, including Hope, and she offers to take Hope wherever she wants. It turns out Scott really can't do shit against Wanda. So she takes them all, and Scott says, no more Avengers.
Is that a
Back in
throwback
Utopia.
to
No more mutants. Yeah.
Yep. We start back off in Utopia, where Scott's newly developed Phoenix telepathy is kind of bothering him. So naturally, he does what anybody would do in this situation and goes to the moon. These people
Of
are always on
course.
the fucking moon.
Always going to the, yeah, okay.
So while he's on the moon, he goes back to where Jean was killed, but he realizes that he doesn't feel anything. Like, he's not having an emotional response, like just a logical one. So he decides that he needs to talk to someone about this, but instead of seeking a fucking therapist, he conjures up Jean's ghost out of moon dust.
Yeah.
Fun.
So that's
So Jean Grey was killed on the moon, I take it?
Yes.
That's just
yes.
a piece I don't remember. or
So, yeah, Jean Grey went Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix ate a planet. Jean Grey became Jean Grey again. Then the Shi'ar were like, hey, you probably should stand trial for eating a planet. She started to go Dark Phoenix again on the moon and had Wolverine kill her.
I like how Wolverine's always the one that, okay,
he's the one that does the dirty work.
I guess.
But yeah, so Scott basically, and it's not even really Jean's ghost. It's basically like a
What the Phoenix
creation.
remembers of her, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
But Jean tells him that he's done well with the Phoenix so far, but since the Phoenix Force kind of amplifies the kind of person you are, he's lost perspective along with his emotions. So he asks her if he still has his humanity, and she tells him if he did, he wouldn't have made her out of moon dust. And then she crumbles. So Scott leaves the moon determined to not let the Phoenix Force change him. This will become hilarious later.
Yeah, and so what we just established then is that what the Phoenix Force does is make you more of who you are, right?
Right.
Yes.
Closer to your own bones.
Yes.
And Scott's a douche anyway.
Yes.
So naturally,
Okay.
Mega douche.
Cool. Cool.
Naturally, Scott, after he heads back to Earth, decides to brand the Avengers as terrorists because they're basically all terrified of Wanda. And so they attack a few Avengers. Vision, Clint, they're badly hurt.
Thought Clint was dead.
No, Clint came back after House of M.
Okay.
Also, there is a panel of Wanda and Vision fighting next to each other, which there has been no kind of conversation or anything between them since he was like, "Get out my house."
Yeah, I did notice that. Like, it's very strange, but
Healthy.
yeah, this androids, man.
Oh, she got the little like paperclip and put it in the back of his neck.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on?
Factory reset.
So, in Utopia, Ileana and Namor want to basically kill Wanda. Their argument is that, that's the only way to stop her. Scott, at this point, does not want anyone to die and kind of tells them to get their act together. Tony, for his part, is basically building a suicide suit to fight the Phoenix. But T'Challa slaps him upside the head and tells him there's got to be another way. Hope lets them know that they're scared of Wanda, and Doctor Strange gives them illusion enchantment necklace things to make the wearers look like Wanda to sort of buy time while they gather more data. It works. Scott thinks they're winning because they're capturing Avengers, but Namor is pissed. Danny Rand and Lei Kun, the Thunderer, meet up with the crew in Wakanda and want to take Hope to Kunlun to train. But as they're discussing this, oh fuck, Namor's here. Namor destroys Wakanda because he's a dick. But he also destroys Wakanda partially because Emma told him that the Avengers have hidden Hope there. She hasn't told Scott.
Right. Well, also partially because Namor has always hated Wakanda.
Well, yeah, like I said, because he's a dick.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
So this is a recurring theme with Namor. It's his turn on is destroying Wakanda.
Yes. We do not kink shame on this show, but I don't know, destroying a country.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shame on that.
I think there was a running. Who were the five again?
It was
Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magic, Colossus, and Namor.
So, with the exception of Colossus,
Piotr,
they're all dicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how is Colossus acting?
Hanging out with these guys,
with the Force 5 power?
So far, he's literally been showing up, doing negotiations, being like, okay, like he was the one that negotiated with the energy people. Like, so far, he's been like, hey, I came from poor Russian stock, and I'm not fucking crazy like my sister, so I'm gonna do good. And he, by and large, does not show up in a lot of like these fights where you see the Phoenix Force people show up. It's always Magic, Cyclops, Emma, or Namor.
Huh. Yeah, he's the chillest one of them all.
He is. Because he's still like, they're amplifying Colossus, and Colossus is like the most laid back Russian dude you will ever find. Yeah.
So Lei Kun dips out with some folks. Iron Fist stays behind because he got left behind.
Yeah, which he is not happy about. He's like, you guys are going to Kunlun? What the fuck?
Hey guys, wait for me.
My name's Danny Rand. I'm the protector of Kunlun, the immortal Iron Fist.
Danny, we don't have time for this.
Choose a name.
T'Challa is, of course, very, very pissed off. And everybody who's left over in Wakanda who doesn't go through this portal, he starts fighting Namor.
Because all these idiots just showed up and destroyed his damn country.
Yeah, like understandably upset. Like I'm not even mad about that. Like I get it. That's where your stuff is. So back in Utopia, the remaining 4 Phoenix folks decide to go to Wakanda because Namor's acting the fool. And Wanda faces off with Namor and manages to take him out, but she kind of passes out herself and is actually saved by Vision. again, with no explanation. There's not,
None.
as far as I know, been a phone call, a conversation, a text message, an
Right.
email about their relationship. They just, sure, all right.
They didn't go to couples counseling. There was
none of this is shown.
Yeah.
Because the other four have showed up, and because Wanda has managed to take out Namor, the Phoenix Force that he had has now all gone into the four of them, making them more powerful. This really sucks. The Avengers managed to escape through a portal while Professor X is yelling at the Phoenix Four. 8 days later, we are back in
Phoenix
Kunlun.
4. I'm sorry. I just
it was the Phoenix 5.
Yeah, that's the Phoenix Four. So 8 days later in Kunlun, Spider-Man is helping Hope to train to enter the 36 chambers of the Wu-Tang Clan. And
It's for the children.
yes. So the Avengers are using portal power to try to find the teammates that have been captured by the X-Men. And it's basically stated that they are not having a great amount of success doing this. During the course of this, they actually lose Thor. So I guess you can say that it is pretty serious. They managed to capture Thor.
By the way, lose in any of these cases is not dead.
Yeah.
It is captured. The worst example is Clint, who poor Clint, basically gets burned alive and is left for dead. And the Avengers are like, or the X-Men are like, well, I mean, Phoenix Force can heal him, and then we could just capture him. So that's what they do. Is they're like regrow him, and then are like, okay, well, you're in prison now.
I Clint has been through so much shit. Like,
yeah.
I mean, for a dude who legitimately has no powers,
No,
he's just an ordinary guy. And I mean, he has died, been resurrected, been set on fire. God knows what else. Like, this poor man.
get some new friends.
Exactly. Like, get better friends, my dude.
Yeah.
stick around for the fraction run of Hawkeye, which all of this is really discussed.
It really is, and it's great. It is delightful. Tony's still trying to figure out how to use Wanda's magic, as well as Iron Fist,
Yes.
and Hope, to kind of combine them together to defeat the Phoenix and make it get gone. So basically, they're trying to Tony and Beast and T'Challa and like the science bros basically are all trying to kind of collect data, as much data as they can about what the fuck the Phoenix is, what it does, how effective everybody's powers are against it. So can
I just say what episode are we in? Or what
Issue 9.
Issue 9. It took you 9 issues to stop and go, maybe we should think about this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot of punching and not a lot of talking or thinking or science.
Okay.
Are they all in Kunlun?
Yes.
Yes, the Avengers have pulled back to Kunlun, just basically because Kunlun is outside of a lot of like views. It's like its own like kind of almost like a pocket realm because it's between two realms. So the idea is that the Phoenix Four can't see them in Kunlun.
Nice.
On top of that, there's also the prophecy that the Phoenix had come years and years ago, and the Iron Fist had sent it away. Not defeated it, but sent it away.
Yeah.
And so that's their best shot is staging things out of Kunlun.
Yeah.
Every time you say Phoenix 4, I can't help but to think of a 1960s doo-wop. Motown
it
hits.
does sound
Nice.
The Phoenix doo-wop. Doo-wop.
It's all about rebirth.
Oh, jeez.
Especially when I was writing this up, I kept unintentionally thinking of them as the Aqua Teen Phoenix Force.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I'm a dirty Phoenix boy.
Especially with all the shit on the moon, I was like, oh man.
Especially with the Moonanites.
Moon,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Moonanites. Did I miss something?
It's a previous thing. Basically, in this show, the Inhumans are the Moonanites.
Yes.
Is that what they're called in the comics? Though?
No.
There's no way.
It's an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference. There are little basically Atari
shaped guys
that are the Moonanites. They live on the moon. Their vertical leap is beyond all measurement. It's a whole thing.
It's a lot. So the X-Men, meanwhile, are coming to understand that the Phoenix is corrupting the remaining the remaining four that are possessed by it. So Emma also seems to understand this because her telepathy is urging her to basically like remote kill with her mind. Like she talks to Scott about how she can, if she wanted to, reach out to their minds and essentially just turn their brain off, like flipping a switch.
Yep.
Which is terrifying. She tells Scott where Hope is and asks him to help her before she kills someone, but he's already left at this point and she's just talking to herself.
Yeah, you're gonna.
In your notes, is there the next section? Because otherwise,
Yes.
Okay, good. Because it's not important to the story, but Jesus.
Yeah. So naturally, there's a 2-page section. Again, not really important to the rest of the story, but she basically goes and like murks a random dude who was a pilot who killed a mutant 20 some years ago by accident. Like his plane flew into a young boy who had just sprouted wings and flew up into the air, and like his plane hit it.
And he kept going.
Yeah, he kept going and didn't do anything about it. And so she just walks into his house while he's having dinner with his family and straight up kills this man and leaves.
Yeah.
So yeah,
saying, by the way, no one has secrets anymore, not from me.
Yeah.
I gotta, yeah. So are the Phoenix 4 good guys? Or
I mean, Emma was never, I would never have called Emma a good guy. Emma is, if you're being liberal with it and forgiving, she is an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Emma's the first person in any of these to be like, so kill the bitch. So just kill them. Kill them and the problem is solved. And to be fair, she's right about half the time.
Yeah, this is true. I just can't. In this particular point, this is really just to illustrate that she's
gone off the rails.
Go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Well, she did ask for help. She basically said, I need you to help me before I give in to this. And he walked away and she's like, well, I guess it's give in time.
Right.
And you asked for help from asked for help from Scott.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And waste approximately 0 seconds before just going out and straight up murking a dude.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and it's implied that this is one of those things that she's just been sitting there thinking about is this dude in 1987 flew a jet into a brand new mutant and just kept driving. And that is something that she has now. And she has the power to stop it. Like it's got some good nuance to it, but at the same time, it's like probably shouldn't just walk in and murk the dude.
Yeah, right.
Not 100% sure on what she thought he could have done. Like, you can't pull a plane over to the side.
Well, he never radioed it in.
Oh, okay.
He never said anything. He just kept going.
Okay. I'll allow it. That's fine. Still, she shouldn't have done that.
Right. And following this scene is another what the fuck scene. So please go right ahead.
So, we cut over to Wakanda, where T'Challa is surveying the ruins of his city, and Storm flies in, and they're having some marital difficulties yet again. T'Challa is, of course, understandably pissed off because Namor has destroyed his country. And Storm, being an X-Man, is kind of with him by association as far as he's concerned. T'Challa announces to her that they are now divorced, so she can be with the X-Men that she loves so much forever now. He tells her that he's had the marriage annulled by the High Priest of Wakanda, and she replies, well, aren't you the High Priest of Wakanda?
And he responds with, please do not come here again.
Yeah. Like, fuck all the way off, my good bitch.
Wow.
So Storm naturally is sad and is like, hey, you know what? Let's talk about our relationship later. Let's just focus on right now. I want to help you guys. Like, I want to help the Avengers. This is
Right.
this
I
has
was
gone off
wrong.
the rails. I was wrong. This has gone off the rails. I just want to help. Meanwhile, Ileana has raised a portion of Limbo to Earth, and she's using that area as a prison for some of the Avengers that have been captured. The Avengers, with an assist from Storm and Professor X, managed to roll into the joint, but Ileana and Colossus are already waiting for them. Weirdly, Colossus, for no reason, has been putting legs on whales. This has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. It's never addressed again, and it is creepy as shit.
Just whales walking around?
No, they died because
They died
can't
because they
breathe on
don't
land.
know how to use. Yeah, they die because they don't know how to use legs, and he keeps forgetting that they don't do well on land.
Yeah, very fucking weird.
It's trying to make dinosaurs.
I guess
Yeah, but he would have to start with birds then.
they're
Maybe he
not
doesn't
good
know
at
that.
this. They're just not good at this. They're
Right.
not. It's very weird. I don't know even why this was
Wow.
in a panel. It is never. It is.
Who
I
was
feel
the-
like this is an example of to pull back the curtain, all four of the people here on this podcast right now played Vampire the Masquerade as a LARP. I'm going to out all of us.
As a
Wow.
LARP.
Oh no,
Sir,
they
that
must
was
not
life.
know.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gross.
But in that, there's the Giovanni clan, which is basically like Italian merchants family that they are basically embraced and born. They are born, and eventually some of them are embraced into opulent. And the idea is that when you have everything, there is a divide to zero like amount of time before you're just going to start to push boundaries that don't
Absolutely.
exist. I took this as that's what's happening. Is
Right.
that Cyclops Colossus at this point is like, okay, but I've done all of this.
I can do everything.
What more could I do?
My actually, I had a very similar thought about that, except instead of Giovanni, it was Zamishi. Because that's some straight up Zamishi shit. Like, let's put legs on this creature that doesn't have legs. See what happens.
Pretty weird. Pretty weird.
So he fleshcrafts some whales
Okay.
for no reason, and then the story moves on.
They're all going insane.
Yeah,
The
I mean
Phoenix
that could
Force
be
is
a
insanity.
Yes.
it could be a great
Yeah.
sign of that.
Okay,
Yes, and
so
I think that's really what it is. Honestly, it's just an indication that even Colossus, the chill one, is kind of
Yeah.
going a little bonker.
Yeah.
So due to demonic interference, they can't get a portal open or teleport out of here. So the Avengers have to rescue the folks that are in this limbo on Earth, kind of on by their own power with their own hands. They can't use magic crap to get them out of this.
Wait, the Phoenix 4 are in the limbo?
It's just Ileana and Colossus.
Ileana and Colossus are in the limbo.
Yeah.
I think leaving them there, isn't that just like solve half your problem?
I mean, it's on Earth now, so it would still be there.
yeah,
Okay.
sadly.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's more fighting. It's not going super great for the Avengers until Spider-Man manages to distract Ileana and Colossus, and Storm manages to open an exit. Ileana and Colossus are beating the absolute piss out of Peter when they start fighting over whether or not they should kill him. Very cleverly, Peter reminds them that, oh, geez, if one of them falls, their Phoenix power will all just get stronger for the people who manage to remain standing. Wouldn't that be a shame? That would just be the worst thing ever. And naturally, they take each other out. Like, I mean,
That's my
I get
boy.
it.
Highlander. Yeah.
I get. I've got siblings of my own. I'm the oldest of 5. I 100% get this. So they take each other out.
Wow.
Scott arrives, shining like a golden god, here for hope. Danny tries briefly to protect her, but doesn't do a good job. Before he starts getting the crap kicked out of him, he tells her to go find Lei Kun. And Hope runs as Tony knocks Scott off course out of the air with pretty much everything he's got. Meanwhile, in Utopia, Professor X has some regrets about letting his dudes choose the wrong side. And Emma is making the remaining mutants literally worship her. She's using her telepathy powers to basically mind control people, the mutants that are living there, to like be on their knees and think nice things about her.
Well, she's not mind controlling them. Like, they're on their knees, and she calls people out that have thoughts that don't agree with what she wants. So, like, Cannonball, she calls him out and says, do you think me cruel? He's like, no, I don't. She's like, your words and your thoughts don't agree. It'd be best if you change your thoughts. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's fair. She's not technically using mind control, but she's kind of
like,
I
it would
don't
be
know.
actually
Fear
better.
tactics.
It would actually be better in this case if she was using mind control.
Right.
Because she's like, change your thoughts. No.
Yeah. How do you even do that? I don't know. Even Magneto is like, dude, what the fuck?
So are these? I mean, are these guys like Dark Phoenix or anything?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, no.
Okay, so that's something coming up then. I mean, because they start out by helping humanity to kicking the shit out of Spider-Man and making people worship you.
Yep.
I mean,
It's
putting legs
definitely
on
a
wells.
downward. It's definitely a downward spiral.
Well,
Great album.
And further down the spiral is also great.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Where's
So
Captain America at? Well, it's
Kind of
We'll get to
organizing shit. Yeah.
we'll get to that. So Hope manages to find Lei Kung as Thor, Clint, and the Thing get very briefly knocked around by Scott, who's still looking for her. And then Hope and Lei Kung then arrive to the battle on Xiaolao, who is the dragon, the source of power for Kunlun. The legend says that it once defeated the Phoenix, but it's no match for Scott, I guess, because it's too young or something. I don't understand how dragons work in this universe. It's like, yeah, we got to see the unrelenting source of power for Kunlun, the mystical, all powerful. Oh no, it's falling. Like, it's like, oh, it must have been too young. And I was like, how is it too young if it's like the source of power for this pocket dimension? I don't know. I don't get it. But Scott advances to try to kill it, and Lei Kung calls him out and tells him that he's got no honor because he wants to kill a wounded animal and hurt a little girl. It's super fucking rude of you, dude. Get your head straight. And Hope tells Scott that she won't side with monsters. He advances on her, and Hope screams for him to stay back, but this time she's got some dragon power. Somehow she's managed to absorb the powers of the dragon. This actually hurts Scott and really pisses him off.
She does what's called a chaos punch.
Okay, so she runs right into Tony, Beast, and Wanda. Wanda's here. Wanda is now in play. So she tries to hit him with all that she has, but it really doesn't do jack shit at this point, because he's got 50% Phoenix power at this point, since the other 3 of the 5 are down. However, Hope now has dragon power and also has absorbed a little bit of Wanda's chaos magic, and she fucks his shit right up with the chaos fist. She punches him onto the fucking moon. Like literally onto the moon. And as Scott is there, he's like, I can't. He's like, he's thinking to himself about, like, it takes him an hour to be able to move his legs. While this is going on, as an aside, the Watcher is there. He's not doing anything. He's just watching, but he looks disgusted as fuck.
Wow.
Like, he's watching this. You can kind of, like, even in the comics panel, you can picture him just kind of slowly shaking his head back and forth.
Right.
So it takes Scott a little while to recover enough to function, but he decides that he needs Emma's power and heads back to Earth. In Utopia, Magneto takes off his helmet and tries to basically think at Professor X for some help. The Avengers are still hiding out in Kunlun. In the meantime, Tony has been working hard on a special helmet for Wanda that basically reads Wanda's mind and taps into her probability powers. Because this is kind of what chaos magic is it's just being able to tap into probabilities to give things a little bit of a push to go the way that you want them to go.
Interesting.
And the helmet also has the benefit of uploading all of the data that they currently have on the Phoenix, the people who are possessed, the Avengers, the X-Men, weather conditions, anything at all that can factor into the upcoming fight. They basically want to use this to foresee the possibilities, a lot like the best equivalent I have for this is it's almost identical to, save for the helmet part, almost identical to like what Doctor Strange does in Avengers Endgame, is to foresee all the possibilities and kind of go with the ones where they can win. So they run the number and on this, and they center in on a potential 3 with Tony and with Thor, and nothing works. Nothing works. And they are about ready to give up, and then all of a sudden they like suddenly remember that hope exists. Meanwhile, Steve is meeting with an old friend, Hulk, original Green Hulk. Hulk agrees to smash for the cause. And in Wisconsin, Rogue is meeting up with Professor X and the Avengers to essentially repent, to say that she's wrong. She knows she's wrong. She wants to help them. And Professor X tells her to bring the others, and they'll be safe, I guess, at the Mars Cheese Castle. It's not really specified where in Wisconsin they are.
Oh my
that is where I have
House on the Rock.
Right.
House on the Rock, also very valid.
Where's Wolverine at? Also, when this
probably
is
the
going on?
Broad Stop.
Okay.
We'll get back to him in a minute. Professor X also acknowledges that despite his love for Scott and for all of the X-Men, really, but they gotta stop him. They gotta put him down if they need to. But this has to stop.
Did Professor X ever get Magneto's brain message? His think telegram?
It is implied that yes, he does.
Okay.
So in Utopia, Scott and Emma are having a discussion about whether or not they should burn the world down. When Xavier shows up to try to reason with Scott and kindly informs him he's here to stop him. He is in Scott's head, and Scott does not like this at all. Everyone is here now, and they are all fighting. And as they're doing this, Scott is accusing Professor X of betraying him and forcing his hand. He's kind of pulling one of those, like, look what you made me do kind of weaselly bullshit excuses. Even Magneto tries to reason with him very briefly, but Scott's like way too far gone. He actually manages to take out Emma and now has the whole Phoenix Force in him.
Oh, great.
After this happens, he straight up mind murder kills Professor X for being in his head.
What?
And then goes full Dark Phoenix.
Oh, come on.
There it is. There it is.
There it is. So it's explained that the Phoenix was attracted to the mutant population, and Wanda, when she nearly eradicated the mutants, this caught its attention again. I mean, as much as a weird sentient cosmic force can have even attention, but basically it sensed the imbalance, or it sensed the loss of the mutants, and like did a U-turn and headed straight back for Earth. With the intent, if it can even be ascribed intent, to essentially rebirth mutants via Hope, who has a little bit of the Phoenix Force in her.
Naturally.
So Wanda meets up with Hope, who is distraught over having to fight her own people to save the world, and she decides to blame Wanda for wiping out the mutants, because if that had never happened, this wouldn't be happening now. And I mean, like, she's like a 17-year-old kid, like, so this is kind of a dumb. I would never get in an argument with Wanda Maximoff about fucking anything at all. Like, Wanda could eat my leftovers right out of the fridge, and I'd be like, I hope you enjoyed them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they start fighting, and actually manage to create essentially like a crater in the ground from this fighting, which sucks. Cap and Tony show up and kind of break it up a little bit, but it does give Tony an idea. Like if they're like this, if they're this powerful when they're fighting each other, what happens essentially when they're both pointed at something and working together? Meanwhile, all around the world, shit is going down. It is not a good scene. Because of the Dark Phoenix energy, like the oceans are burning and like shit is collapsing, and like there's volcanoes, and like, the earth is kind of getting torn apart a little bit.
So much for doing all this good stuff for humanity.
Right, exactly. So So Scott is fucking up the Avengers pretty seriously when Nova reappears, who I guess is no longer comatose at this point, and just knocks him out of the sky. After he is kind of taken down to Earth, because he was like flying over like Europe or something when this happens. Hope and Wanda arrive and they begin combining their forces to fuck up Scott. As this is happening and they're beating the crap out of him, Scott has kind of like a vision where he sees Jean in the flames because there's fire everywhere. And Jean advises him that it's time to let go. As he is kind of falling into unconsciousness, the Phoenix Force leaves him and goes into Hope, who uses it to put all of the fire. So she like willingly accepts this, and at first is like, no, I'm going to use this as a force for good. I'm going to be the White Phoenix. I'm going to save everything. And Wanda's like, bitch, no, that's not why you were chosen. You were chosen because you are the only one who is strong enough to let the Phoenix go. So she takes her hand and says, no more fire, no more fighting, no more playing God, no more Phoenix. And the Phoenix with this dissipates. Her magic and Hope's powers combined basically release a energy burst all around the world. And what that does is it starts repopulating mutants all over the earth. All of a sudden, the Stepford Cuckoos, who have been monitoring the mutant situation via Cerebro, basically are like, we are getting new hot spots popping up every second. They're boom, 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 boom. Like mutants are back. They're back, baby. So it's kind of a neat explanation as to how the House of M plotline kind of gets a reversal. It actually makes some kind of sense, and I can kind of see it because it's just weird energy. But yeah, so the mutants are back. The Phoenix is gone. And so in the conclusion, Scott is basically put in Ruby Court's hell jail. And Steve is talking to him. He does apologize to him for not helping mutants more, but he states that the rest of the four need to turn themselves in. He is putting together a new uncanny team of X-Men, so that's the formation of that.
Right.
Nova, who he was the first to warn them of this, is invited to join the Avengers. And at the final conclusion of this, Hope is apparently free and happy, still jetpacking around to fight crime.
Doing what she wants.
Exactly. And that is where the story concludes.
Okay, I have a question. You ready?
Yeah.
If all of the people in this comic actually received professional therapy, what is the likelihood that this storyline would have occurred at all?
It probably only would have been about, like, instead of 12 issues, it would have been maybe 6 or possibly even just a 3. Like, there's a lot in here, and it's really, really funny. Like, there's a lot here that could have just really been solved with very simple communication. Like, talk to people.
Yeah, you got, like, husbands and wives, no, never come back here, and
exactly. Like this plotline caused a goddamn divorce. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, and one that probably should have happened but didn't, because they just figured, well, we'll push the argument down to our stomachs and let it become cancer.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like everybody's acting the fool. Like this is not like a terrible storyline. I actually found it very entertaining, but like, some talking would have helped my guys.
Right.
I thought it was just a batshit crazy story.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
That's awesome.
That just, it went so many ways involving, I pulled up the cover to look at the cover.
Characters. Oh yeah. Good idea.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
And then the Thing's in there. Or is that Red Hulk? That's Red Hulk.
That's probably Red Hulk.
Well, Hulk. The Thing does show up too, so
oh jeez.
Yeah, he's in there a couple times. Yeah, pretty much this was just like I also feel that this plotline too was kind of a who's who of douchebags. Like everybody who acts like a complete jagoff in the comics just kind of amped themselves up by like 5%.
Right.
Yeah.
Minimum.
there
Like 5
any-
to 50%.
Was there any of the super villains in the story?
Not really,
Oh,
other
that's a
than
good
if you consider
question.
Magneto to be a supervillain. I mean, he's in it, but
No.
like, yeah, they really didn't.
Magneto is not a villain.
There
Well,
we go.
and I'm 100% in the Magneto was right camp, so I don't
Yeah.
consider him a villain in any way, shape, or form. But if you do, that would technically count. But yeah, other than that, there's really no bad guys that do anything in
Yeah,
this.
and-
Really, like at best, there's anti-heroes like Emma Frost and Namor and whatnot. But like, yeah, no
Well,
real supervillains.
What's interesting about it too is that I tend to really be in the Magneto camp as well, of like, well, yeah, he's clearly correct and the humans are all horrible. I have to admit, there was a point in this story in which I was like, oh, the humans should just wipe out all of the X-Men and lock up all of the Avengers. And that will solve all of this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like I suddenly
100%.
became a congressman in the comic. Like,
Yeah. Are there any further questions that y'all had about this plotline?
No, not for me. That was just I mean, you start out with, I don't know. It went so many different ways.
It
Yes, it does.
It is a lot, and you know, and honestly, this is again one of those situations that they've been really fond of doing in later years, where we've got the main plot line, and then there's a bunch of tie-in comics about like certain people and what they were doing at this time. So there's other stuff going on in the background that this main plot line doesn't really get into. So there's, you know, like if you want to learn more, consult your local library. Like,
right.
you know, like the omnibus that I have, and I don't know about you, Josh, but like the omnibus that I have actually does have the tie-ins in the back. I did not even read through those because I didn't have time, frankly, but I probably will once
there was a whole series, and so I'm glad that I kind of read through at the beginning, because this gets confusing. There is a whole and it's called AvX, and it's a whole thing that all it is fights between an X-Men and an Avenger, and like who would win.
Yeah.
Crazy fantasy fist fight.
Yes, it is.
Admittedly, some of the team ups that they have on the panels, or like not team ups, but like the fights that they have on the panels, they'll only show like one panel of like so and so fighting so and so.
Yes,
and some of them looked really interesting, and I was like, wait, but I want to see more about that. Tell me more about who's going to win.
That
this
one
fight.
is called AvX Versus. So there are 6 issues of that. That's just like, okay, what if this person fought this person? And while we're at it, let's go through the Gambit watch. Because I love Gambit. I love Gambit, and in the X-Men comics, this is another one, by the way, that Gambit shows up on the cover of a lot of these issues and doesn't do shit.
Meaning he's not actually in any of the panels inside?
He is, but he doesn't like.
But he doesn't speak. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't speak. He doesn't do anything. Like but he's on the cover of. So is Rogue, and Rogue doesn't do anything in this comic.
All she does is she just goes to Mars Cheese Castle and surrenders.
Yeah,
while Wolverine at the Broad Stop.
Yeah, right. And there's like one panel where like Gambit is with Storm for most of the comic, like her team. And he shows up in places. He gets his ass kicked by Captain America in one panel, which is actually pretty funny. And at one point he speaks some French, and Iron Fist tells him to shut up. That is his only line. That's the only thing that happens with him.
Aww.
Yeah.
He has less lines and less appearances than even Black Widow. So
yeah, which again, another one that I'm like, what? Why? Why do you not? Yeah.
Yes, I think she has maybe 2 lines in this.
Yeah,
and then
she has
disappears forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, there's not a whole lot she could do in this particular situation, but still, though.
Right.
This is such a classic example of why I think like people that aren't into comics have difficulty accessing comics.
Sure.
Look at the number of characters and the number of backstories and everything that's in this that you need almost to get context for what is effectively a giant fantasy film.
And you have really nailed the difference between graphically novel and rec conversations really in this. Because seriously, there have been so many episodes of graphically novel that we're trying to explain a graphic novel to somebody and people are like, what? Who the fuck is that?
Right.
Why do I care? And in rec conversations, we run into it too, but at least we can kind of do a quick deep dive into this is why this character is important to this particular story. Like, here's a little info. And so I'm hoping that somebody listens to that. And like a good example is World War Hulk, which was our Lost episode that recently dropped. The Sentry is in that issue. And the Sentry is a fascinating character, but is somewhat new when you're talking about comic book history. He was the 2010s, I think.
Yeah.
Even.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, he's fairly new, but he's like Superman level, like power. And at the same time, everybody seems to know who he is when he shows up. And there's an explanation for that. And that is he is a living retcon. He has the power to retcon himself into shit. And it sounds lame. He's actually pretty awesome. Like
Really?
to look at, because he, in order for him to have power, he created his own like villain, like Nemesis, which is the darker side of him. So yeah, it's kind of cool the way that they went about it, but he literally just kind of shows up in a comic and is like, yes. And everyone's like, oh yeah, you're Bruce Banner's best friend and you're the Sentry and you've been here forever. And it's kind of like in Buffy when Dawn shows up and, all of a sudden Buffy has a little sister and you're like, wait a minute, what? And you have to just keep going.
And scene.
Yeah.
That's
So-
great.
Yeah.
And we all spent 3
he's
months going, what the
basically-
fuck was that?
Right.
He's basically a reality warper, not unlike Wanda in that way. Like he can kind of just create his own backstory, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
reading some of this AvX verses where it talks about like Squirrel Girl and Pixie were playing with Avengers and X-Men figures made out of clay made by the Puppet Master
Yep.
the day before the hostilities began.
Yes.
So-
Nuts.
Hawkeye imagines
Yeah.
Spider-Woman wrestling with Emma Frost, Storm, and Psylocke.
Oh,
That
I
one-
see.
That one
I don't
not
need
great.
to-
Yeah, that one not great.
Clint, get it together, my dude.
Yeah.
Like you've died like 100 times and you've had some weird shit happen to you, but like, please stop
Right.
being
Fantasies to yourself.
At some point, I'm gonna like do the deep dive and do the math. Who has died more, Clint, Professor X, or Jean Grey? And I know it's not Jean Grey because I've already done the math for Professor X. But Jean Grey is known as being the person that dies the most. No.
I feel like hot on her heels is probably Natasha.
Yeah.
Natasha hit like 8 billion times as well.
Does Wolverine count only in that things that would kill?
No, he's really only died once.
Joy.
Yeah. And that was just him being encased in adamantium. And then Old Man Logan was in the main continuity for a while to replace him, which was a thing.
I thought this story was actually completely different than what I thought this was.
Me too.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be more along the lines of like kind of like Secret War or
Right.
where they were kind of tricked into it versus
Right.
them
Right.
actually doing it.
Just going
So-
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will ask, we probably covered, like we do the gloss. We do
Yeah.
the because there were certain parts I was following along in the comic as we were going, and I flipped through multiple pages because Leia, honestly, they didn't have anything to do with the main story, and so she skipped over them, which I do the same thing. But has our breakdown made it something that you want to go and seek out?
No, I'll pass.
So only because one of the things that happens in this storyline is this probability detection. And that's absolutely fascinating to me. The idea that you would take all the probabilities and use math to predict forward, right?
Yeah.
It is a combination of like foundation sci-fi and Dune. And like when I came out of the Avengers movie, I literally was like, oh, Doctor Strange is the Kwisatz Haderach, right? Like, so a little bit of that, I would, yeah, maybe.
Alysen, I would recommend that you listen to our episode on Civil War II.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was our season finale of our first season. Or just pick up the Civil War II comic. If that is your jam, Civil War II is amazing in how they do that. And it is also, like, listening to our show on it, it is also the quintessential Tony Stark needs therapy episode. Cause, like, honest to God, like,
yeah.
wow.
100%. That was such an enjoyable episode to record too. Like it's just fun to to do and it's fun to listen to because I listen to my own podcast because I'm that person. But
no, I do it several times because I have to do it while I'm editing, but then I also do it the day that it drops to be like, okay, does everything sound like it should? And I've actually caught that I like put the full theme in the front instead of the back and like things like that.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah, sure.
So yeah, I am that dude because I'm the producer / editor.
I just basically listen to see if I sound like a ding dong or not. Because and then straight up, like sometimes there's so long between when we record and when it airs that I'm like, I don't remember doing this.
Don't remember, yeah. Yep, I hear ya.
Love it.
I would not read it because I've always been more a favor of the villain. I've always
there really is no villain here.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed villains more. That's one of the one of the things about MCU I've never really enjoyed is the story is always I mean, Thanos was great, but none of the other stories the villain never rolled over. I mean, Zemo kind of rolled over into Falcon Winter Soldier, but
he rolled over and did a little dance
because they're kind of their own villain.
Had they not killed off Killmonger, I think that Killmonger could have been a really good legacy character. That because essentially, if you're looking at things like Black Lives Matter and everything else, Killmonger was 1000% right. How he went through and dealt with things was a very heavy-handed shift from the beginning to the end. And I wasn't a big fan of that, but yeah, I just Killmonger is definitely a villain that I wish would be around.
There's a rumor that he might come back, so who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah,
I
don't know what that
the rumor I saw, was that he was actually going to be
incredible.
The new Black Panther. So.
Oh man, I love that. Also, Michael B. Jordan is just
using the.
See, I would have been down with Shuri until the actress decided to start being weird.
Yeah, I don't.
The guy that plays the actor that played the clan that was up in the mountain.
M'Baku.
He's amazing.
M'Baku. He's an amazing actor. He was in Us, which was really good.
It's on my list. I need to watch that one.
Good.
Oh man!
But in general, that actor is so good because Leia and I both have friends that are not huge into comic books. John and Keith, John Hildebrandt, Keith Fisher. But I showed a picture of M'Baku, and John was like, "Well, I'll at least watch that movie."
Oh man, yeah. Everybody in that is also just incredibly gorgeous, like across the board.
No shit, like I mean, like 1000%. I'm on the Kinsey scale. I stop at Ryan Reynolds generally. But M'Baku was such a great character, such a great actor, so much presence in what he was doing. Like, Black Panther's one of those movies that I'm like, Jesus Christ, could you at least get like a somewhat okay actor so I'm not just like blown away by every fucking performance that comes across my eye holes?
Yeah. Like, Angela Bassett could tell me to do literally anything and I would do it. That woman is, I don't understand how she doesn't age. She's flawless. Just incredible. I've loved her in everything I've seen her in, and this was no exception.
Yeah, that was the movie. Alysen and Allison's brother Julian, they had this thing about team. Are you Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
Yeah,
and I've always been on Team Iron Man until I saw Black Panther, and then I said, you know what? Screw you. I'm on Team Black Panther because that was a fantastic movie.
100%, 100%. Just incredibly good. Like, can't say enough good things about it.
Yep.
Like, might very well be my favorite in the universe. Although it's very hard for me to pick just one.
Yeah, it's a top. It's definitely a top 5 for me.
All of the characters, all of the actors, everything that happens in Wakanda. All of it in Black Panther makes you go, oh yeah, I can see how an entire civilization can just believe in the divine right of kings. Because I'm down. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's get rid of all our politicians and let's put Black Panther in.
Yeah. Angela Bassett could lead me anywhere.
I'm
down.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So yeah.
So I mean, like, on that note, Alysen, Jason, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence for this.
Good time. It was great.
Very crazy. Last X-Men episode that Leia will be doing.
I'm super interested, actually. I know you're wrapping up. I'm super interested to come back and watch. I saw on the list you guys were probably going to do Transmet, and I could not be. I've read that. Jason has not. Oh my gosh, do I want to hear one of you guys explain Transmet?
Oh, it would be me. That one would be me. I mean, I'm just gonna cut my co-host knees off and be like, mine.
No, that's fair, because I've done that to you with a couple of the upcoming ones that we're planning on doing. Where I'm like, no, this is 100% me. You just sit quietly.
Yeah. Mr. Miracle, Tom King's Vision. Yeah.
I have
the ones that you love.
And it shows. Young Avengers. I was like, please don't talk.
Yeah. Well, and I was almost going to be like, oh, yeah, it's going to be Injustice for this show because there's not a media aspect, but they're about to release an animated movie of Injustice. So that's going to be a graphically novel.
That's why I wanted to get Young Avengers in under the wire, because they're really setting that up, but it hasn't been announced yet, so we can still do it.
Right. Yeah. So thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And your guys' theme song for this one of the graphically novel family is on point.
Okay, I do got to say, it was done by Jared of Vandello, but a couple things that I don't know if I've talked about on this show. I wrote the lyrics because I do parody, lyrics. That's just one of my things. And he had never heard Elvis doing a little more conversation. So he went back, and actually his version is not the version that I've ever heard. It was the original version, and he actually spent money on the original amp, like the amp type that was used, because I'm not a music person, but he was explaining to me that it creates a very specific sound that Elvis used at that point in his career. So he has this very specific amp that he did. He had never heard the song. He listened to it. He used my lyrics. And that's where our theme was born. And they are so good. And their first LP, they have an EP on Spotify, but their first LP will be dropping probably around the time that this episode drops.
Awesome.
So Yeah. So
We'll
go check
it
them out. We will be pimping them out as much as possible. We will be like when Leia's in town at some point, we're going to go and introduce her to the band. Cause
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think I'm the only one they haven't met
yes. Yep.
on
Awesome.
account of how I live in Illinois.
Right. But they're fantastic. They're a great partner. They're always excited when we do stuff. Whenever any member of the graphically novel family shows up to their concerts, they at least play the graphically novel theme.
Cool.
Because they can't play the Rec Conversations theme without having a specific amp there.
Right. I love it.
Yeah, I know. I cannot say enough good things about them. They really are part of the graphically novel family. I will keep the two of you. I know you're in Omaha, but I'll keep you up to date on when they're having concerts. So
Totally.
if you want to align one of your visits with their concert, we'll make a thing out of it because they're fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Gypsy swing, such a niche thing to do. I know that word is out of favor, but that's the best way to describe it.
Cool.
Rom swing is not a thing. Or Roma swing, not really a term. Anyway, everyone, please check in with us in 2 weeks when we will be doing All-Star Superman. This will be a DC
Yay.
Superman thing that I have to explain. So,
Hey, you know what? I've already read All-Star Superman, believe it or not.
Okay. I think I have too. Years ago, I think I did as well. So, this will be a challenge. Leia and I have been on, in fact, everyone at Graphically Novel have been on record as saying Superman is not the easiest character to do. And we did the Death of Superman last year, where Superman is the least interesting character in his own death story.
Yes.
So until then, take it away, Vandello.
A little wreck conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration ain't me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Vandello 2021.